bid for the total, $1,258,456 is what I came up with the additions for erosion control. But what is the unaccounted for difference of $11,717 for the total price?
Well, the $5,000 rock allowance, $5,000 soil allowance is $10,000 of that. I'm not sure where let me go, I had this figured out when I had that email earlier.
This is 750 for 3 months.
Right, the 750 for the maintenance. And was there another? Maybe there was one more. I didn't print out that email. The email that I sent late this afternoon that had the price breakdown.
You've got 5,000 for the rock and 5,000 for something else and 750 for plant maintenance. And that's all that was added.
I don't know if this is a good or a bad time to jump in the jar. I don't know if it's shortens or lengthens the discussions, but there were some changes that Michael and I discussed that I understand that they have agreed to, but are not in this document. So that raises the issue of whether it's ready for your review. Those changes being that I requested that the contractor, we put in a provision that the parties agree that in the event of a dispute of the performance of the contract prior to the institution of the lawsuit, all parties agree to mediate the case.
It's in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also a liquidated damages provision.
Okay. What's in here?
I was trying to glance over quickly at this here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Her number there didn't have this 967, because she was
We
questioning
start-
that in another.
Right, we start with 65, 423. Okay, if you back into the number, the 64, 456, the 967 of the performance bond,
Okay.
that pretty closes the rest of that gap.
All right. Very good. Question about matting.
Yeah, I don't believe they've added it twice, but I'll have to confirm that. But as far as my reading of it, I don't think they added it twice. But if that was an error on their part, obviously, they have to take it out. They can't double dip us on something.
Okay, can you read the next paragraph and address that?
The on the face, starting there.
Also has the 998, yeah.
Okay. Right, also has the 998 for Excelsior matting, been added twice, first by Dog per addendum, fax dated June 26th. That direction add per NCDNR letter 9453 plus 900 per attached email 7709. Like I said, I don't believe they've added it twice, but I'll have to confirm that they didn't make an addition error and add that in twice. Whereas council's copy of the DNR letter requiring this additional cost, NCDNR doesn't provide a cost for what things are. What they do is they review plans, and they submitted that report back to us.
So there is a letter.
There is a letter, yes.
Okay, but it's not included
Well,
with
I
these.
didn't think it was germane because it's one of those things that it's part of the approval of the erosion control process, so it had to be, that's what became the bid. I mean, we can provide that. Do we have a copy? Yeah.
Now, well, if it's $60,000 that's added on, so that should be a part. I mean, that's supporting documentation for what Doggett and everybody else said, so it should be in here.
Well, we could add that on there, but it's part of the plans, basically. The plans are updated, and that's what they were using as how they calculated the numbers.
Can you make that as another addendum, because there are already 3 addendums?
I don't think that would be an issue with them at all.
Okay.
The next paragraph on the face of the contract 2D, page item 4, says contractor shall maintain and honor their bid quote for phase 2 of the Summerfield Athletic Park until September 15th. For the costs associated with the purchase of the asphalt. contractor does not mention other fluctuating material prices. That's correct, they don't. There's no mention of anything else except for asphalt. Asphalt, and this is in a section of the documents under the allowances. Asphalt is one of those price point issues that you don't know how much it's going to cost till you actually buy it. And so what the contract allows for is that they bid it based on what the May cost of concrete was, asphalt was for the NCDOT schedule of values. That's the standard that contractors use. When the asphalt actually gets poured, which will probably be October-ish timeframe, there'll be a new value. We don't know what that value is going to be. That's the one place where there's going to be a gap that everyone understands is there. It could be lower or it could be higher, but we won't know it into that event.
Yeah.
So that's what, specifically, that's what that's referring to. Now, the reason why it says phase 2 is because we bid this as a phase 1 and phase 2 project.
But this
And
contract is just for phase one.
this project is just for phase 1, but because of the delays in the Cardiff grant, we were under the assumption that we would be able to hold their 60-day contract for phase 2 until we heard back from the Cardiff. But unfortunately, they've delayed that now 3 times. So we would be outside of the 60 days, and they would not have to hold those numbers that they did in May if we didn't ask them to. That's what this is doing, is we're asking them to hold the numbers that they bid in May for phase 2, because they were also the low bidder for phase 2, until September 15th, which will hopefully get us to a point where we find out whether or not Cardiff is going to be granted or not.
But there has to be a new contract for phase 2.
Yes, there would be
This is only phase one.
right. There would be a new contract for that, but this is holding to those prices for when we get to that contract. And
The allowances for RPM's July 7, 2009 addendum letter to the town. Explain that and how they figure into the contract price. They had comments and concerns, and are those comments and concerns going to be over and above the contract award as set out in that particular letter?
No, that's what, those comments and concerns were the conclusion of the discussion that established those allowances and established that all of those.
The rock and
those-
the plants
yeah,
and all of that.
that there's no additional financial
All
burden.
right.
The next question has to do with the fluctuating material prices again. The only material price that's fluctuating is asphalt.
And that's not what you answered. Let me read this paragraph to everybody. Regardless, the April 23, 2009 Addendum 1 from the Office of Town Manager, question number 3, asked whether the contractors would be allowed to link the asphalt prices with the NCDOT asphalt index due to price inflation. That you've already explained. Your answer is contractor is to use current prices for asphalt and all materials necessary for job completion. Fluctuating material prices may be negotiated within a certain tolerance with the selected contractor. The question they ask is only about asphalt, not other materials. Why tell the contractor that fluctuating material prices can be negotiated when the only thing they ask about is asphalt? Even the asphalt is not specified per se on the face of the contract. The answer in the addendum is not advantageous to the taxpayers and renders even a cost plus fixed contract useless if this is what it is, and allows possible numerous change orders for fluctuating material prices, and who decides what the within a certain tolerance is and when. If asphalt's the real issue, put the certain tolerance price limits in the contract, leave out all other fluctuating materials because that is not the question, and do not leave it open-ended. It's not fair to the taxpayers not to know what the total cost of construction will be. Advocate for the taxpayer, not the contractor. And that's my concern with that part of the addendum.
Well, the addendum was addressing specifically asphalt, but if I didn't address other materials that may also fluctuate, then I was going to get those as additional addendum questions. So it's trying to address a larger addendum question about other materials. So.
But you've already given them something they didn't ask for. If prices fluctuate, are we going to amend are there going to be change orders?
No, because that was an addendum. That's not part of the contract as spelled out under this contract. They have a
This
committed price
contract
for
includes
this.
addendum 1, 2, and 3. That's what it says.
No, and what that means is that they